Alright, so I don't know if it's just kind of Boruto here today, but just kind of the atmosphere this week with anime. Just like every episode we're getting is like every dark or emotional episode, and we get that with here today and the new Boruto. And just like, why are we getting this? Like every single anime I put out here, and especially for today's episode of Boruto, it's just always so dark related and emotional, and you feel for a certain character. And we definitely do get that. What's up though, guys? My name is Ryogi Flame, and welcome everyone to Boruto Naruto Next Generation's episode 45. And in today's episode, we get to, of course, know more of, Shikadai's and Ryogi's like kind of friendship relationship. And we also get to see Ryogi's past of kind of who he is today. And it was kind of most of the episode of him, just kind of the backstory and kind of who he is as a character, who his parents were, and etc. It kind of took most of the episode, but with it, Ryogi, you kind of do feel for him, in this series now. And with it, it was a horrifying backstory, and that a child shouldn't go through this right here. So I'll kind of talk about it just because it is kind of long. It took, I think more than half, or it was half the episode of his past and learning who his character is and his family. So, he kind of lived in the middle of nowhere. It kind of looked like he didn't live in a village or anything like that. It was snowing. And his father, of course, is a shinobi. He provides for, him and his mom. And it was just this dark time where his father does pass away. And the character who he's with now is actually his uncle. He said, like, the son last episode, so I thought they were father and son, but it's actually his uncle, and his father and mother actually passed away before, because he's remembering stuff of, how he became part of the Byakuga gang. In this, I have a few questions related to this episode, because unfortunately when his mother and father passed away right in front of his eyes, the guy that attacked him, afterwards his uncle killed him to save him. But a question to me, and I could definitely be wrong about this, is I felt like his uncle planned that so that he could kind of use him as, or build him up as a great warrior for him doing this, the gang stuff, do, bad deeds and everything with the Byakuga gang. And I don't know, like I said, it could be an assumption, it could maybe be true, but that's kind of what I got throughout this episode right here, was I feel like his uncle is hiding a lot more things than we know. He doesn't seem like the character that he is, but I can be wrong with that. Maybe like the full, story he was talking about in today's episode is actually true, and that he actually wants to help Ryogi and thinks that his way here of stealing the money and giving it to the poor is the best option or the best way to live. It's not just that, he was talking to Ryogi as well in this episode of, instead of doing shinobi stuff of, providing for him and his mom, that he also did this with his uncle as well, of stealing stuff from villages or higher up tier people that they said that this is actually blood money that they're stealing from. So from the poor or whatever, they're actually taking the money so that they actually become homeless. So it's like they're giving the money back to the people that rightfully, that's their money. So he feels like doing this, or what his father did, that this is the best way in life and the path that he should go on to. As well, I feel like he's kind of, I don't want to say brainwashing, but I felt like, watching this episode and the stuff that he's telling Ryogi, it feels like he's kind of brainwashing him a little bit. I don't know. It's like he kind of snaps onto it right away, of his parents just dying, and now he's giving him all this information and what they do. He kind of snaps on like that he wants to be part of this group and wants to do what he does. So it was kind of a really quick assumption. I thought it would take him a little bit more time to, realize this or maybe think about it and etc. But I don't know. Like with it, his uncle to me feels really sketchy, and I hope that we get more of his character in the next episode here of Boruto. And we see that as well of Ryogi actually talking like to him that he made a friend, which is aka Shikadai. And he was telling him like, yeah, it's good you're making a friend, you shouldn't apologize, everything's good, you should always have friends. But with that, we see in the next scenes that he doesn't really care about that, and he's going to do something about that. So I don't know if his uncle is going to go and kill Shikadai or something, or he should make friendship, because if you build friendship, that's making you some sort of weak. So it's going to be I feel like his uncle's just hiding something, but I could just be wrong. With it as well, as I totally called this throughout the episode, and you could see, through Shikadai, and what his character is, him finding out that Ryogi is part of the Byakuga gang, last episode we saw Boruto actually borrowing the games from the scientist dude, and Ryogi tell him about, where's the science lab and everything like that. Shikadai caught on that, and when he finally beat him in a shogi match, throughout the past 3 episodes, they always played shogi in the park. Instead of him actually winning, he said to Ryogi that they could start all over again, but he had to answer my question. And he said that right there, which I was so happy, because he's kind of like Shikamaru. He's a really smart guy, and he knew right away that he was part of this gang. And Ryogi was trying to cover his identity up and everything, and I really loved, I feel like this is the best part of this episode, was Shikadai outsmarting him, because it was getting late outside, and usually around this time they quit playing shogi, but instead he brought kind of a lamp, for them to see, in the dark and play shogi. But with Shikadai, he said that this lamp was actually one of the stolen items, and he just completely loses it. He's saying to himself, how did he know about this? How did this information get out? But in reality, that lamp was just an ordinary one. Shikadai actually tricked them to get the information out. So I thought that was really clever, Shikadai, and it just, thinking of it at the spot like that, he didn't think for it for too long. He just kind of looked at the lamp, and then he kind of made this whole approach or this plan. So it was a really cool outsmart maneuver that Shikadai did this episode, and I just like it because it feels like Shikamaru is back, like we're watching the old Naruto. And it was just clever, man. I'm just liking Shikadai's character more and more and more, and definitely want to see him, more in the future. And we're gonna get that in next episode as well, because what I told you guys before, in this series or in this arc that's going on right now, that we've seen in Naruto in the past, is a bad guy, or if it's Naruto's character, or if it's Boruto or whoever, they become friends, and then afterwards they'll kind of fight. That's usually how kind of arcs are, is I guess a bad guy and a good guy becoming friends. They don't know about each other. Afterwards they know, and they start to get in a fight. And I feel like with next episode we're going to get that, and we did get it in this episode here as well. Of it wasn't really a fight. Shikadai did not want to fight because he truly made a bond with Ryogi. He wanted to become best friends, and he didn't want to fight. And we actually did see that in last episode as well, when Tamari and Boruto were fighting him, and Shikadai did know that was Ryogi, and he didn't want to capture him or for the lead to imprison him. So it was definitely interesting of what Shikadai's character is going to do in next episode, because he's been doing the same thing over and over again, but I feel like that's going to change throughout the episodes, and that Ryogi does need to be stopped. So definitely Shikadai, I feel like, was the MVP of this episode, and I just like this character even more. It just reminds me of Shikamaru, and that's really what the episode was here today. Like I said, it was kind of just more of backstory of knowing Ryogi's character, background development, etc. And we actually see the little fight between him and Shikadai, and it was interesting. Just kind of the first half was just really, you feel bad for Ryogi, him and his past. His uncle's still sketchy in my opinion, so I'm hoping that we get to see more background about him. I feel like we are going to get that throughout the next episode of Boruto. And also, what Shikadai's plan, is he going to capture Ryogi? I doubt about killing him. He's not going to kill him, but I feel like it's going to be, is he going to finally capture him? Is he not going to kind of run away, or is he not going to stand still or do anything? I feel like he's actually going to make a move now, and knows that if he does it, it'll be the right plan. This episode here today, though, guys, I think I'm going to give this episode a 7 out of 10. With it, it's kind of knowing a lot about Ryogi's past. That's kind of what the episode was about. For me, I was glad. I feel like the thing that stands up with this episode here today is just knowing more about what Shikadai and Ryogi are going to do now. Just kind of Shikadai knowing everything and revealing the truth. That's what really kind of stand out to me this episode. And just feeling for Ryogi, for what happened to his parents and what he's the past, and the guy who he is now. And it was not overall exciting, but it was definitely, I guess, a building up episode. But I feel like with next episode here, we're definitely, I think it's the finale. I do believe so. I feel like this is the last episode of this arc that we're going to get with the Byakugan gang. And little hints as well that I want to talk about in this episode before I leave, is that we're getting closer and closer to the tuning exams, as we saw at the start of this episode of Boruto talking with his sister and his mother Hinata. So we're definitely going to get the tuning exam arc, which is going to be next after this, which is going to be really, really exciting. I don't know, because we're on episode 45 right now. So I figured, a lot of people have been saying it would start at 50, But I don't know if we're gonna get 5 more episodes of this arc. Like, I think maybe 2 of them. But I'm just beyond excited that we're gonna get the training exam here next. So I figured I would just cover that information just because we got it at the start of the episode here today, or just a little hint talking about it. Have a fantastic day, guys. Thank you so much for checking out my review. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. And we'll see you guys next week for another Boruto review. Much love and have a wonderful day.